It's the Tony Tone Show on Vintage Sound 93.1 FM, live from the Unity Point Health Studios on the MPW Digital TV Celebrity Hotline, former lead guitarist of Genesis. He's done a solo record, brand new one. It's called The Night Siren, available everywhere this Friday, March 24th. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming to the show, Steve Hackett. How are you?
I'm very good. Hi, Tony. How are you?
I'm doing extremely well. It's so funny, you know, I was sitting here getting ready to chat with you, Steve, and I got an email, and it included a 3-song sampler, 3 tracks off of The Night Siren in the Skeleton Gallery, Behind the Smoke and Anything But Love. And Steve, I have to be honest, I don't think I've heard anything like that before. It's great.
Yeah, well, it seems to be going down well. It officially comes out on Friday, but I've done a whole ton of interviews for it, so, you know, I'm not sending out the baby into the world cold.
It's so fascinating to me, and I don't know the entire backstory, and that's what you're here to share with us, but you really, Steve, brought people from incredibly diverse backgrounds together on this record. Talk about that for a second. I can't imagine it may have been the easiest thing to do, but it seems like you pulled it together.
Yeah. Well, there were about 20 people on the record from all around the world. We've got Israeli working with Palestinian, Icelandic with Hungarian, Swedish, American, UK, Celtic, Azerbaijan. So there's a theme to it, which is basically unity, just demonstrating that people can get on instead of killing each other across walls and divides and borders and all the stuff, you know, that's going on at the moment.
You described The Night Siren as a wake-up call, and from the three tracks that I heard, I can take away that same description. But I wonder, at the time, because I've never been a part of making an album, Steve, so at the time when you're putting it together, if people are coming in at various times or if they're there together, did you get the sense that this record would be, because it's certainly music and it's beautiful and it sounds good, but it does seem to be delivering a very important message. Did you get that sense all along? Was that the intent?
I think that it was the intention once we started work on what became the flagship track, which was Behind the Smoke, which was basically about refugees, and then its counterpart, which is towards the end of the album, the track called West to East, which is basically a peace song. So you could say it was a protest song and a peace song, and something that's in the spirit, I think, of 60s music, which I've always adored. I loved the whole idea of the civil rights movement and the work of early Dylan and Buffy St. Marie and so many other people who were doing wonderful stuff that was over and above the music that they were doing.
I also love the message called if musicians can work together and even have some maybe fundamental disagreements, it says a lot about the rest of us and how we can learn to perhaps see past limitations and things that have been put in place, because I think for a lot of people, they don't know why they dislike someone. Maybe it's just their surroundings, their environment have kind of convinced them to do that. But I think it's such a good thing that you've done this, and then that you get to take it out into the world and tour with it. That's got to be really exciting to perform the songs live, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, I'm currently doing 3 tracks from the album. I'm doing Behind the Smoke, which has an accompanying video, and I think it's the best video I've done, which was shot in Serbia, which shows refugees at war-torn situations, you know, back in ancient times and contrasting it with modern times. And the guys that put that together have done it to feature film standards. It's quite extraordinary, the amount of detail and all that stuff. And then the other track in the Skeleton Gallery was released first of all, which was more about nightmares. There is basically one other that I'm doing live, and that's El Nino, which is about weather patterns. And we have orchestra, we have a tribe's worth of drums, and we have a rock band as well, all vying for supremacy. But it's the surround mix of that is the thing that I'm thrilled with.
You are doing a lot of dates on the other side of the world from us here in the United States. And a lot of that is the Genesis Revisited with Classic Hackett, and people can go to your website, hackettsongs.com. Do you have plans to come stateside? I'm assuming you do.
Well, we just finished an American tour. We did a Caribbean one. We did Cruise to the Edge with a whole ton of bands, and then we did an American tour. We finished up in Buffalo with the Buffalo Philharmonic Orchestra.
Wow.
But, that is now 2 weeks ago. So I've had 2 weeks to recuperate from that, and now we go out tomorrow off to Barcelona, off to San Sebastian. We do European, we do Scandinavian, and later in the year, because it's basically a world tour, we'll do Australia, New Zealand, Jakarta, Hong Kong, Singapore. It's a busy time, but a wonderful time in that sense, wonderful musically.
Absolutely, and I know that folks are going to enjoy when they can start to hear some of the new music. Again, the Night Siren officially available this Friday, and everybody should pick that up.
That's right.
Steve, there had been a lot of rumors, and certainly I don't want to dwell on the Genesis stuff, but the sort of reemergence of Phil Collins within the past 18 months or so. There was talk that perhaps a Genesis full reunion or as close to full would happen. You're obviously extremely busy for the next foreseeable future doing your own thing.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that for a second? Is anything like that going to happen?
I can, yeah. I think, that a reunion is always possible, but I think it's unlikely in that I think the guys who own the Genesis name are currently choosing not to do anything with it, at least officially, and that's Tony and Mike. And I think that if they do reform something with Genesis, obviously they're likely to want to have Phil involved with it, but I doubt whether they'll want myself and Peter Gabriel, because they'll probably want guys who are more employable. Do you know what I mean when I say employable? I think it's, they've had their own way with it for a long time, so
sure.
I have a rather different vision as to what the strengths and weaknesses are of Genesis, and so when I go out with my band, I celebrate what I think is the more intelligent material that has more social comment involved with it, and it's also the stuff that I think fired up a lot of musicians and made them want to pick up instruments. So I suspect what I was interested in was the Genesis in a kind of pre-fusion era, and what we latterly call prog. It's a very different animal to the one that it became, the successful pop machine that it became. And I guess, obviously, I'm less interested in that and more interested in the era, particularly that I did with Peter Gabriel, where his social comment and the left field ideas were all part of it, and we managed to make that work. But the Genesis that everyone came to know as the product of hugely successful MTV, made for MTV stuff, that's a different vibe. That's the era of doing a collection of songs, all of which could be potential hit singles that go on an album. Whereas I come from the era of, an album is an album. They aren't all auditioning to be hit songs. You take the album as a journey, as a musical continuum, as a work of passion, honesty, and energy, whatever you call it. But it's a kind of, if it's got any filmic quality to it, it's implied within the nature of the storytelling songs. So those songs are supremely visual in their own right. They don't need videos to go with them.
I agree 100%, and I think that you found that obviously with the Night Siren. I want people to listen to it in its entirety and enjoy it, and not, I try to not skip around things when I receive them, Steve. And the beauty of this radio station that we have is we have the ability to play what we want. So that's
brilliant. See, that's freedom is so important, isn't it? Autonomy, freedom, honesty.
It really is, and I appreciate that you've continued to fight the good fight, and the Night Siren is another example of that and bringing people together. Thank you so much for the time, Steve. Have a great, successful, safe tour.
To you.
You too, man. Take care, buddy. Bye.
Thank you. All the best.